Let's be honest, right? The Steelers were not supposed to factor into this season. Our analytics had them finishing with a losing record. ESPN Bet before the season started gave them 50-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. That was higher than the Cowboys, higher than the Browns, higher than the Bears. But Sunday, when the clock hit zeros and Pittsburgh had clinched its record-tying 21st consecutive non-losing season, it was a reminder to us all that the Steelers still have Mike Tomlin. And as long as he has a whistle, the Steelers can always find a way to Tomlin their way into contention. One of the best attributes of a coach is leaning into his team's strengths, and Tomlin has done exactly that, navigating two quarterbacks. For the first 6 weeks, it was Justin Fields, and the defense carried that team. They ranked second in points allowed. Then he went to Russell Wilson. Since then, the offense has ranked second in yardage, behind only the Ravens. Now, the move to Russell Wilson was heavily debated. Fields was 4-2. Wilson was coming off two of the worst seasons of his career. Didn't seem like he was anywhere close to being the Super Bowl quarterback he once was. But Mike Tomlin said he wanted this team to be great, not good. And the gamble that he made has paid off huge. Just a year after posting the lowest yards per attempt of his career, Wilson has responded. He's now on pace to post the highest yards per attempt and yards per game of his entire 13-year career. And most importantly, the team has responded. They're scoring 8 more points per game, and they've become a vertical threat. They're tied for the most 20-yard completions in the league since Week 7. So of all the Mike Tomlinisms, the most famous is the standard is the standard. And the standard for Pittsburgh this year, it seems, is the same as always: win the Super Bowl. So as the calendar has turned to December, it has become evident that the standard is good enough to win this entire thing.
Okay. This is really funny. This is where legacy media is always like, nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming because I didn't see it. We didn't see it. So nobody, let's be serious here. Nobody thought that the Steelers would be good. Our analytics said that they had essentially no chance. Okay. Well, let's take a look. Because in July 4th, 24, I made a video saying Russell Wilson will thrive with Pittsburgh Steelers over Justin Fields. I made another video, Pittsburgh Steelers can win the division if Russell Wilson starts over Russell Fields. Made that video in July 21st. And then I even was as bold as to say the Pittsburgh Steelers will be ruthless with either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. Made that video May 31st, 2024. So no. Missed me with that nonsense that nobody saw this coming. That our ESPN Bet analytics, said that there was like no chance of this happening. Well, I saw it. And if I saw it, who the heck am I to see it? I mean, what do I know, man? I actually didn't. I mean, I knew I was speaking highly about the Steelers pretty early on, but I didn't even realize. I didn't remember that I even made a video saying that they could win the division. And now look at them in the driver's seat of winning the division. And I said, as long as Russell Wilson starts over Justin Fields. Man, just pretty funny stuff. Pretty funny stuff. I had to do a quick little mini victory lap because when I see him saying something like nobody saw this coming, say few saw this coming. Don't say nobody. Don't be so in your own little universe where you're like, whatever we say is facts and reality and nothing else exists outside of it. And it's like, no. Look around, all right? Look around. So, yeah, I mean, people still seem to be doubting the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I can already see it right here, too, where people, let's say the Steelers have a tough loss in the playoffs or whatever. I can already say people just be like, it was a good story, and, they just lag this and this and this, right? And then if they win, they'll be like, no one saw this coming, because they've already reached their conclusions about who the Pittsburgh Steelers are. Again, they're one of the few teams out there right now where they're obviously winning, and so they're a top team. And people will say, hey, yeah, they're a top team because they have to. It's unavoidable. But there's not that true level of belief within them. I literally just made a video talking about another team with regards to that because it's very similar. But it's just like, where is the lack of confidence in this team? Because, again, I reviewed another clip on Get Up with that one woman, I don't know her name, and she was like, where are the points? Where are the points? And it's like, there are the points. Like, what are you talking about? They have one of the best offenses right now with Russ. Like what are you talking about? This offense has been great. And we know the defense is good. Total offense since week 7. They rank 2nd. So it's like any of the criticism against the Steelers are just kind of made up nonsense. And any of the criticisms, anything that you can pull down for the Steelers, we can chalk it up to that. Those are things that we can say about every team. There's questions about the Bills. There's questions about the Eagles. There's questions about the Lions. There's questions about the Chiefs. There's questions about the Ravens. Yes, surprise, surprise. There's questions about the Steelers. But there's a few teams out there, like the Steelers being honestly kind of like the perfect example of this, where any of those questions that we have about, say, a team like the Steelers, like I said, we have questions about all teams, they use it as a way to say, look at this. These are some serious questions that we have about this team. I don't know. And it's like, okay, let's go through the questions that we have about all the teams then. Don't use it as a reference point as to why we want to make the argument that the Steelers aren't that good, or that they're not a true top contender, or that they're not worthy to be like, hey, you know what? The Steelers versus the Chiefs in the playoffs, who you got? Don't automatically say, well, it's the Chiefs. Of course, it's the Chiefs. The Steelers versus the Bills, don't automatically say, oh, well, it's the Bills, Josh Allen. There is no automatic, let's pick the other team. There is no automatic, can we really trust the Steelers come time January? Yeah, you can. You can. And again, I'm not saying that they're going to win, because I have no idea. But it's just like, it just irks me so much that when we use the criticism about some of these teams and we act like it's unique to a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, it just doesn't make sense. It's like saying, you know what? I have some concerns about Josh Allen. Look, he went 19 for 25. He had 6 incompletions. That means 6 times he threw the ball, someone didn't catch it. And it's like, yeah, that's football. Do you think quarterbacks have a 100% completion percentage? Like what? I don't. They had to kick a field goal. They couldn't score a touchdown that drive. They had to rely on a field goal. They got 3 points instead of 7. And it's like, do you think every time the team touches the ball they're supposed to score a touchdown? I don't understand. Like, that's the equivalent of the arguments that you hear against the Steelers. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? And it's like, well, what about nonsense? And I keep seeing it again and again and again. That's why I'm coming out firing. And then when I get triggered, trigger warning. I get triggered when I hear takes like saying no one saw this. What are you talking about? We saw how much they were able to fight last year with like 17 different quarterbacks. You really think that putting a competent quarterback for your team wasn't going to significantly make this team better? Like, oh my God, great Scott! Like what? It's like, I don't understand. It's not that complicated. It's really not. I'm not a super genius. Behind me is not a chalkboard where I have like all the math and science behind it. Where I'm like, oh, you got to check this out. If you really kind of jump through all these lengths, we can tell that the Steelers will actually be a good team. It's obvious. And go figure, the defense will also be able to play better and differently when you actually have a quarterback who can run an offense, take a tremendous amount of burden off of you. It's just like, I don't know why people are so surprised about such obvious things to me. I really don't get it. Like, it's one thing if they drafted a rookie quarterback. And, it would be surprising if Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix and even Caleb Williams, had this team hum. And then you're like, oh, wow, isn't this amazing? A rookie quarterback? Like, wow, this team is great. This, that. Like, I could at least, like, conceptually understand. And I get it because Justin Fields was kind of like, who is Justin Fields? And Russell Wilson, people were really down on Russ. But there was still enough there. It was still going to be a true, gigantic step up from what they had. Even if Russ looked identical to what he looked like in those last 2 years, as Greeny put it, it was still going to maybe this team wouldn't be as good as they are right now, but it would still be good enough, clearly. So there's some major doubt. And it's I know the Steelers fans love it. I know a lot of Steelers fans. I lived in Pittsburgh for a little bit. No, the Steelers aren't my team or anything like that. So nothing I'm saying is some sort of homer take. Just my life experience of, spending time in various places in the country. And I know they're feeding off of this for sure. I know they love it. Because, who really talks about Pittsburgh? We talk about all these major cities, Chicago, Philly, LA. And Pittsburgh's definitely kind of like, yo, you know we exist, right? You know we've won a lot of Super Bowls, right? You know we're like a fully functioning city out here, right? Like you know there's a lot to be desired out here. Yeah, we got a lot of cloudy days and it's hilly, but you know who we are, right? And I know they're just waiting. They're just waiting for their victory lap. And so I did a victory lap a little early just to kind of show what's up. But yeah, nobody saw this coming. I don't know, man. If some random dude on the internet saw it coming in May, okay, like I think the true experts should have been able to see this as well. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Pittsburgh Steelers having their steel resolve? Rising through the ranks this season, being a legitimate contender. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.